this fight that's coming up in the main event at 185 pounds. It's not happening.
Dude.
Not happening at 185. Of course, big news today. Paulo Costa is not going to make 185 pounds for the middleweight limit. This fight is probably going to be scheduled for a catchweight at maybe 195 or light heavyweight at 205. Doesn't matter. Vettori wants to smoke. Costa wants to smoke. I don't know what's going on. But let me introduce the fighters. Paulo Costa coming at 13-1, coming off a significant layoff of 13 months where he last lost last October, I believe, to Israel Adesanya via very early KO. The Eraser Costa coming at 30 years old, not fighting in the middleweight division this time, but 6'1", 72-inch reach. His opponent, Marvin, the Italian Dream Vettori, also coming off a loss to Papa Israel Adesanya in a title fight. He's at 28 years old, fighting at 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. You know, I think that this not making weight or making a catch weight makes this a lot more interesting. Especially for Costa, but not saying that Vettori's not a huge guy either. I think Vettori is a massive 185er. But everybody has their theories about why Costa is not making weight this week. You can go to More Plates, More Dates on YouTube and look up Paulo Costa from our boy Derek going over the steroid cycle what Zach thinks he's on. But who knows? But I do know one thing, Zach. Israel Adesanya lives rent-free in both these guys' heads.
No, I couldn't agree more. He's daddy to both of these children, and quite possibly the funniest piece of content I watched all week, that I took in all week, was Israel Adesanya breaking down this fight, because while he gives props where props are due, he gives none unless you earn them. And quite truthfully, his summary of the fact that both of these guys suck should be a very good indicator of the fact that he's on a whole nother planet than the entire rest of the middleweight division outside of maybe Robert Whittaker, because these are definitively two of the top 5 guys in that division. These are easily two of the best contenders we have at 185.
They're the last 2 challengers.
And I just
at 185.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're the last 2 to fight for the title. And it's crazy because you already hinted at it. And I'll give my theory that, like, Paulo Costa trying to make 185 is going to end up the exact same way TRT Belfort did, I feel like, where if you can make 185, you're going to knock dudes' heads off like a Pez dispenser. But the odds of you making 185 at that point are just so slim, especially if you mistime your cycle and you're in this bulking phase at the time you need to be cutting weight to make a fucking weigh-in and be. He's 211 pounds as of Thursday, and he's supposed to be 185 pounds as of Friday. So I'm just not sure what the logic was there. Quite simply, it seems as if Paulo Costa is very indifferent towards the whole idea of even having to make weight. I just watched an interview with him where he basically said, why would I kill myself to make 185 pounds and make weight if I just know they're going to let me do this catchweight fight? Like, why would I kill myself and go out there and lose when I can give minimal effort to make it, to make myself have an advantage? Like, I think Paulo being as big as he is already for 185 pounds, and, Vittori's the brick shit house. La brick is shit the house, eh? But
one that can withstand meatballs, son.
Look, I'm not saying he's a small guy, but he's significantly smaller than Paulo Costa. And if you're going to give Paulo 10 more pounds over him, look, man, I think that this fight had very minimal implications on the middleweight division as it was, because neither one of these guys was walking straight back into a title fight, but the winner was always going to keep their name relevant. Now I think both of these names stay relevant, and this fight holds very little implication because it's not going to be at 185 pounds. Long story short, if we're going to call this analysis or breakdown or whatever, I'll pass the torch back to my homie. But I think Costa is going to be better on the feet, and unless Vettori can survive the onslaught of what he's going to get in those first 2 rounds and just grind him out, I know he's a tough guy to finish, but I think with the size and strength advantage that he's going to have, if Costa can connect, he rocked Yoel Romero, which was not something we saw done very regularly throughout Romero's career. So I think Costa definitely has the ability to rock Marvin Vettori, and I imagine that he will put his lights out, especially at 195 or over 200 pounds.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that anybody that's a fan of MMA that has previously been exposed to Paulo Costa prior to his title fight against Adesanya, you saw an absolute savage, fucking vintage. I'm talking axe murderer, Vanderlei Silva style. I'm talking knocking dudes' head off, getting into absolute fucking wars. Something that nobody can like. It's entertainment. It's pure sport. And I want to see it. I want to see it so bad. I want to see a vintage Paulo Costa fight so fucking bad. And I think he has the power to knock out Vettori, like you said. But one thing that scared me into his press conference today, he goes, I don't watch tape on Paulo, on Vettori. He didn't watch any tape. He doesn't know what his game plan is. He said, I've watched very little. And he's just going to go out there and do what he does. I'm like, bro, I haven't really seen your takedown defense. I know Yoel Romero kind of had a stand-up battle with you and didn't really keep you down whenever he did take you down. But for the love of God, you got to defend these takedowns. Vittori's takedowns are relentless. I mean, pretty much the only guy in the past few years that have been able to stop his takedowns is Izzy. And we all know Izzy is very good at it. Yeah, I think Vettori, he's going to get all headstrong and want to go in there like, yeah, this guy's a brawler. This guy likes to throw. I like to throw. Let's chunk some leather. We're going to meet in the middle. And I think once he catches one punch, he's like, nope, not doing this. I'm going to take this guy to the ground. But because I want to see a war, I'm going with Costa.
Look, man, you have to give props where props are due for a guy being a tough guy and saying, I trained my ass off. I'm a real fighter. I'm here to fight. But I can't say enough about what this size, move up is going to give an advantage to Paulo Costa. Like, I think if there's even if you want to look at it minimally, being 10 pounds heavier will just make it A, that much tougher, and B, that much more straining, when I do find it inevitable that Marvin is going to shoot and try to get that takedown, because I think we're all very on the fence and questionable about Paulo Costa's takedown defense. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't think the dude's a slouch on the ground. I think he's a very decent grappler, and I think he has his merits in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not gonna call a guy a black belt. I'm not sure as a black belt, but I'm almost confident that Costa is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm not saying that we talk all the time about guys having a difficult time winning fights off their back. I'm not saying that makes the difference here, but I am saying that he's not going to lay on his back like a starfish and just take it in the ass from Vettori. Like, I definitely think that he's going to, even if it's a la Derek Lewis-esque, where he gets taken down and just kind of does some very non-technical, hey, get the fuck off of me, and just kind of shoves him. I think Marvin is going to have a very difficult time getting things going, especially because we saw how easy Adesanya was able to keep him kind of at range and just neutralize everything he had offensively.
Yeah.
I think Costa not watching tape, like you said, is detrimental to his success. But if he's not watching tape because he's focusing on his own game and making improvements, and he is just obsessed with redeeming himself from the way that he lost in that title fight and then getting humped like a freaking $2 whore afterwards. Like, I think that Costa's got a lot of anger. I think, look, he's fighting angry Marvin. I think we're seeing two guys that are very angry, two guys that are, look, I'll slide it in there, equally ding-dongish. You know, you see that picture of Marvin Vettori before his Izzy fight with his shorts on backwards. And then you see Costa, who said, well, I lost to Izzy because I got anxious and drank 2 bottles of wine the night before the fight. Like, how stupid are you? Anyway,
they should put a belt on the line. MMF, mad motherfucker belt.
look, I just think while this is a very good matchup, and while this is something that should, be implicative, I think at the end of the day, this is just a fun one for the fans. I think this is going to be something that in some way, shape, or fashion gives us that entertainment we're looking for on a Saturday night. But for our sake and for our wallet's sake and for the sake of finally getting hopefully 50 fucking subscribers, we're both going to take the underdog Paulo Costa here.
How much has the line moved today, Zach? I feel like it's probably shifted. But
let me see. Let's see.
But Marvin Vettori coming as a minus 145 favorite. Costa plus 140 underdog. Not really anything, here in the rounds that I see that's too tantalizing.
Dude, this is, just because you brought it up, this is one of the crazier things I've seen in a while. That this fight opened, it got announced and opened on August 4th. And Paulo Costa was a minus 150 favorite. Now the barn doors have completely slid in the other direction. It's the complete opposite. And as of this morning, Paulo Costa opened at plus 131. So he's gone from plus 131 to plus 140 just today. Which, I mean, that could be just one or two guys making fat bets on Vettori, but it seems like everybody's undervaluing Paulo Costa just because they think that Izzy mind fucked the guy.
Yeah, well, one thing that worries me for sure in this matchup is he said something in his press conference when he was asked, why didn't you make weight? Was it due to an injury? He said, I'll let you know after the fight. So there's something going on, in my opinion, but I don't care. He's underdog. I think he's better. Hopefully his ailment is not significant and he can compete. Just be wary. Fire's
No, dude, I just think that we neglect how good Paulo Costa was before that Izzy fight. Like you said when you started, I mean, that dude was a beast. He was hurting people. But I guess
he's only fought like twice in the past 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
he fought
something like that.
He fought Izzy last year, and the year before that he fought Yoel. That's it. So I don't know. Do you have any props for us this week?
Look, man, if you're getting plus 140 as your money line and there's still a pretty substantial chance that could continue to go up, I say wait until Saturday and take Paulo Costa at the money line is probably just your best option. But if we need to look at a prop, Costa by TKO at plus 235. That's all I really got, man. I think that one is your best chance to find success.